For much of my youth as a spry little weirdo, I had a morbid fascination with dying. I was scared my parents would die, scared I wouldn't wake up. Jesus, that's a grim way to start this. Sorry. I'll get to the Final Destination stuff in a minute. Here, have some footage of dogs wearing hats. Okay, so, the notion of cheating death, be it cryogenic freezing, uploading myself into a computer, or anything else I swiped from the Outer Limits, always had an inherent appeal. It wasn't about living forever.
I'm never gonna die.
I don't want to be 400 talking to the youth of tomorrow about Keenan and Kel. That sounds fucking terrible. It's the dying part that always rubbed me the wrong way. The uncertainty, the inevitability, the unknowns. There's a reason why death anxiety leaves so many of us scared of something will never stop. As a society determined to shine a light on all facets of science and discovery, death transcends and eludes them all. Which is why I find the Final Destination films such a breath of fresh air. They're tense, visceral and shocking, but more than that, they take an absurd stand against the one true adversary we can't outrun. It doesn't treat the act of dying as poetry or a dogmatic rite of passage. We shouldn't go quietly into that good night.
Fuck death.
Over the course of the 5 mainline entries in the series, one thing is made abundantly clear. Death is a real piece of shit. The basic formula goes like this. Protagonist has a premonition of a disaster in which they and many others are destined to die. By walking away from their own grisly fate, they upset the scales of life and death. And Death isn't about to pick up his ball and go home. He's gonna set things right, even if that means some poor slob is gonna take a spanner right in the eyes. The villain of the series isn't some masked maniac or untenable monstrosity, it's the unavoidable shadow of our own imminent demise. It mainly presents itself as a malevolent breeze, violently bending the world to its will. You can't stop it and you can't bargain with it. The best you can hope to do is trick it.
You have sunk my battleship.
Staving off the inevitable until the vicious circle is complete. That's the gag all these films hinge on. You can't ever really win, but you can strap on your gloves and go a few extra rounds. It's all existential wish fulfillment, which is in no way new to horror. Dracula, Frankenstein and the Mummy all thematically explore life beyond our natural limits, and most horror films at least touch on these concepts. Final Destination is stripping this idea of any prosthesis and questioning death on a very practical level. In Sylvia Plath's poem Lady Lazarus, Plath writes, "Dying is an art, like everything else." As the films have grown more elaborate, they found a contrived beauty in their slowly unfurling mortal coils. Final Destination applies the fluid motion and mechanical precision of a Rube Goldberg machine to the concepts of fatalism, lending an elaborate but darkly comic logic to the very notion of life and death. This creates a fascinating and engaging dilemma. By framing our own demise as a puzzle that needs to be solved, rather than an inescapable certainty, the audience is forced to reevaluate items as innocuous as a shower curtain or a flagpole as the potential harbinger of our doom. Characters constantly reference death's design or pattern.
There's a pattern for you.
That was Death's original design.
That's a pattern.
As a species, we're wired for pattern recognition and problem solving. It's why we get such satisfaction from finding our car keys or checking off that last line of a crossword, but now replace those car keys with not getting sucked into an escalator, and the crossword with the clue that keeps the wolf from the door. The films act as chaos theory on a discernible scale. Rather than a butterfly flapping its wings and causing a hurricane on the other side of the world, here we have a fallen fridge magnet and a succulent Chinese meal, somehow causing this absolute tit rifle to take a ladder through his face. So why do these films bring me comfort? Why is it I smile as another chain reaction sets in motion a death by inanimate object? It all comes down to the humble banana peel. A tried and true comedy cliché, the slip and fall is a shortcut to instant, painful gratification. An unfortunate series of events where we stifle a chuckle before letting out a sigh of relief. We're not laughing because we want the person to brain themselves on the pavement, we're letting our guard down. For the briefest of moments, we allow ourselves to be in on the cosmic joke that circumstance and bad luck can, and most likely will, deal us a bum hand. The old adage goes, the best way to make God laugh is to tell him your plans. Here, death is spinning us a yarn, a lengthy setup to the ultimate punchline. Samuel Butler said, "If life must not be taken too seriously, then so neither must death." And that's what's so refreshing about each Final Destination film. Well, not the fourth one. The Final Destination is like trying to eat a doorknob while someone puts your dog to sleep.
And you don't even want to fuck with that, MacDaddy.
Whenever I'm driving behind a flatbed truck hauling logs or boarding a plane, Final Destination starts spinning up the what-ifs in my head, leaving me checking for loose chains and faulty tray tables. Not out of fear, but with a loving nod to this convoluted, oddly liberating franchise. Death is coming for us all, so let's all make that piece of shit work for it, and make our curtain call as spectacular as possible.
You got your whole life ahead of you.
Hit me up in the comments where we can all rank the series from best to worst, share our favourite death scenes, or just generally hang out. Special thanks to everyone who likes or subscribes to these videos. You have no idea how much every single interaction with you means. A huge shout out to Ryan Hollinger, who did a deep dive into this series last week. Check out his video here. And Hamish over at Writing on Games for being my cheerleader and an all-around handsome man. Until next time, this is In Frame Out.